We'll get to the warranty video in a second, but first I just wanted to provide a little bit of context to the thousands of people who've actually seen this video before. This morning I woke up to discover that Robertson and Kane had actually successfully managed to get this video taken down. Based on what they reported, it seems to be because we mentioned an employee's name. This was part of what seems to be a concerted effort to have videos removed from this channel, which based on my inbox has increased since we posted the sale, drive and engine video over the weekend, suggesting that what was in that video has struck a nerve. Obviously YouTube has options for handling this, but for us it's just easier and faster to blur the bit that they have reported and re-upload the video. Since the video was first published almost 4 months ago, we've had a meeting with Robertson and Kane with this employee present, and we've also had parts sent by them to Trinidad. It's only this week that they've decided to report this and other videos, presumably in an effort to silence us and stop us sharing our experience online. For context, none of the reports have been for false claims or misinformation. We have evidence for what we put up. This really is and has been our experience. But for now, those of you who haven't seen it, this was our warranty experience with Robertson and Kane. For those of you who have seen it, if you would consider liking it, sharing it, letting it play through, we'd appreciate it, as it will help tell this big corporation that you need to be better. In this video, I'm going to detail what we think a Robertson and Kane warranty is worth within our context as liveaboard cruisers, and show you what they've practically done from the time that our yacht left Cape Town up until now. When you buy a new boat, one of the supposed benefits is that it comes with a warranty. Now, when you buy a second-hand boat, you go into it knowing that there are likely going to be some issues, but that ultimately you are responsible for them. You're going to be fixing them with your own time, money, skills, trades, and so on. But when you buy a new boat, that warranty is supposed to act as a level of protection so that you're not on your own and that things like poor workmanship won't be your responsibility to rectify. Our experience buying this new boat and the subsequent issues that have been found across the entire thing it's been arduous and stressful, to say the least. And again, we ask that you wait and see, because we're still in the process of sharing the story and the whole picture is not out there yet. But it's had a huge impact on our mental health, our physical health, our relationships, and there's been a vast amount of lost opportunities. Our warranty experience with Robertson and Kane began in June of 2021 when Trent and Tynan flew into Cape Town with the intention of doing the handover on our yacht, having any warranty issues that were detected repaired, and then completing a series of aftermarket works with the Cape Town Leopard Aftermarket Department, in particular with Marcel, who had been highly recommended to us by other Leopard owners and whom we would recommend. Robertson and Kane did slowly complete warranty repairs over the 7 months that the boat ended up spending around Cape Town, but that was not without a time, opportunity and financial cost. However, it was needed not just for safety reasons, but also so that the Leopard Aftermarket Department could go ahead and start their work. We'll compartmentalize that 7 months that they ended up spending in Cape Town, because it's its own set of complicated warranty issues and processes and events. But essentially, while they were there, they dealt exclusively with the Cape Town office, with Marcel submitting and pushing through warranty claims, doing the right thing. Personally, from what I've seen and been told by the boys about their time in Cape Town, Marcel really represents the Leopard brand well. The yacht left Cape Town in February of 2022. It still had outstanding warranty issues, and Trent had concerns about the installation of windows, leaking hatches and various other things. But by that stage, our sea container, which contains almost everything we own, was in danger of being seized by European customs because it had been sitting there so long without the yacht arriving. During the crossing, the boys had a satellite phone which they used to keep Marcel updated with various issues that were popping up. And once they arrived in Gibraltar, Trent reiterated those issues and which ones needed to be pushed through to Robertson and Kane to be addressed. Based on their experience in the ocean, where windows were leaking and the window in the owner's hull started to peel back until they were able to halt the progression with some flex tape, Trent was quite certain that the installation of the windows was an issue. He asked that window replacements be sent ahead of us to Italy so they could be installed on arrival to replace the ones that were leaking, but also the other ones that weren't leaking yet but were installed by the same team as the ones who were leaking and whose incompetence Trent had seen for himself while he was in Cape Town, watching them attempt to repair their mistakes. Since leaving Cape Town, Robertson and Kane have all but ghosted us. We've received one small payment after months and months of going back and forth, and haven't received any fixed procedures or repair advice despite multiple requests for documentation. Rather than engaging lawyers like other Leopard owners have done, we decided to go through Robertson and Kane's process and see what their response would be and what they thought was the fair and right thing to do based on the survey that we gave them, which they had requested. And this took a lot of time, and all the initial costs were incurred by us. At the time, we were really sick of their behaviour and their poorly constructed boat, and we were also watching friends of ours go through similar things. It was taking a huge toll, so we decided that we would see what they would do. If they did the right thing, well, you wouldn't be watching this video. And if they didn't, we would take the steps to warn other potential owners about the possible experience they could have by sharing what had happened to us. We would rather share the information than cash out with lawyers and sign an NDA. I know some of you won't understand that decision. Personally, when I made the decision, there were two big things I thought about. The first was other potential owners. We keep getting told you've got time, but there are a lot of people who buy these boats who are retirees or who are people with families, young families, who want to spend that time making memories with their kids. And for many of them, it's a once-in-a-lifetime purchase, and they don't necessarily have the time or the means to go through this. I wouldn't want my parents or grandparents to have to do it. I also thought about the degradation that I saw in Trent and Tynan when they arrived in Europe. Because at that point, I had lived with the two of them for about 5 years. First when we were backpacking together, and then as roommates. And what I got back from Cape Town was not the same people that I said goodbye to at the Perth airport. Trent in particular, he looked terrible. He looked sick, and he'd lost about 15 kilos, I'd say. It was at the point where he actually called a friend of ours from the marina in Gibraltar when they arrived. And she told me later when she got off the phone she cried because she couldn't cope with how he looked. And yeah, look, they just weren't the same, and I couldn't let that go. So the boat was hauled out on the 6th of June 2022, having given them advance warning, and the surveyor came out a couple of days later. Once he issued his report, we forwarded that to Leopard, who gave it to Robertson and Kane, and the next day from Robertson and Kane acknowledged that he'd received the survey report, and he asked for more documentation, including a quote to rectify everything on the survey list. We went through the process of getting the quote. Some of it though had to be indicative. We still had not received any fixed procedures or advice from Robertson and Kane, and some of those issues you need to know how you're going to fix it. The initial response to the quote, so keeping in mind they now have the quote and the survey, was an attempt to blow off most of the issues as a normal wear and tear, and just a copy and pasted block of text reiterating their warranty policy. And then following that, we were asked for more documentation, some of which we'd already sent. In August, we were notified that our claim had been accepted for processing. By this stage, 2 of our 3 months on the hard stand had been used, and Robertson and Kane still had not sent through any repair documentation. By not sending it, they were making it more difficult for us to attempt to repair their poor workmanship. It wasn't an issue of us paying for it. The contractors and the shipyard wanted the manufacturer's guidance before they started a warranty repair. While waiting for the claim response, our Italian visa ran out. We fixed what we could ourselves, put the boat back in the water, and sailed away knowing that we would be facing another haul out in the near future, 3rd for the boat, and that's where we are now, here in Trinidad. So you might be wondering what Robertson & Kane staff were doing while we were waiting for a claim response as well as documentation to give to the shipyard so that they could rectify the issues. Well, almost 3 weeks after we received notification that our claim had been accepted for processing, Trent had an email from Quality and Customer Relations at Robertson & Kane. Received on the 2nd of September, this letter was a blatant attempt to try and threaten us into stopping posting about their poor workmanship online and demanding that we remove everything that had been posted on various online sites, including Facebook, YouTube, and the Travel Sketch website. So rather than being a helpful response, reaching out to finally assist us, the General Manager of Customer Relations sent us that. We'll go on to provide evidence in a future video as to why this letter is so laughably incorrect and what sort of caring interactions you can expect from this shipbuilder. If you're going to threaten a customer, at least get the facts right. As you can probably tell from my channel, we ignored her letter. We finally received the claim response on the 16th of September, which was 32 days after it had been accepted for processing, and this is it in its entirety. There's no explanation of what wasn't being covered and why, and personally I found it to be an illogical response because, as you can see, they've agreed to pay for a few random items and disregarded their own warranty. Here are some of what I found to be the more outrageous things that were ignored in the claim response, which appeared to be clearly covered under the Robertson & Kane warranty. So 32 days after accepting our claim for processing and having wasted 3 months of hard stand time not sending documentation when they knew we'd be there in advance, we get a response where point 1 and 7 are the same. Either they're incompetent or they were just trying to pad it out to make it look longer. Then came the process of attempting to get paid. The payment details were sent in early October. We then invoiced them for just what they said they would pay for, with the communication that this wasn't a final invoice, we were just invoicing them for what they felt like paying for. In the end, we were asked to amend the invoice twice, so payment was received at the end of January this year. Here's a side-by-side comparison of what Robertson & Kane had approved for payment and what Marina Monfalcone quoted based on the information in the surveyor's report. The complete quote from Marina Monfalcone started at 93,918.65 euros, with them making it very clear that it could go up from there. As you can see, the repair total for Robertson & Kane came to 12,546.48 euro, which works out to just over 13% of the value of the quoted repairs. In regard to the quote, that is what it costs to have repairs done in that region of Europe, and if you are a European buyer, it's an interesting calculation to figure out what percentage of the cost of a new Leopard 45 that amount represents. You also need to keep in mind that our yacht had undergone sporadic warranty repairs in Cape Town, so what you're seeing here is not the entirety of the warranty claims that have been made on this vessel. For some additional context, while we were there, the marina was owned by Red Bull, and we were not the first Leopard catamaran that they'd had there for warranty repairs. As you can see, there was also a request for a 20,000 euro deposit before work could start. I'm not sure if this was standard procedure, but I do know that the marina had experienced issues with being paid for pre-approved warranty work that was completed on another Leopard catamaran. So you may or may not be aware that it was recently announced that Robertson & Kane is being sold. According to a public post by Frank Vergil, who is the Vice President of Yacht Ownership and Product Development at Travelopia, which is the parent company for Leopard. For now, there will be no change in the management staff at Robertson & Kane, and it will be business as usual. I think what some people don't understand is the amount of work and suffering that some people end up going through after buying a new boat just so they can get their dream going. You don't buy a new boat to then have to fight your way through the legal system like we've been encouraged to do. And you certainly don't buy a new boat to spend significant amounts of your own time and money fixing poor workmanship like we've had to do over the past 2 years almost. I just want to add that we do appreciate the people who have taken the time to watch and understand our story. It seems many of you, including some of the most respected cruisers in the world, understand our perspective and the positive change that we're hoping will come from this. Our opinion has always been that the design of the Leopard catamaran is very good, and that it shows a level of care and attention to the cruising community that you don't always see from other production boats. As such, we do see the potential for improvement in future. We believe that if we work with Leopard catamarans and there's open communication and dialogue, the buyer's experience could be greatly improved in future, with just a few changes to the system and more honest communication with their customers. But for now, if you are a potential owner, you do need to ask yourself, are you willing to risk having the experience that we've had? Do you want to buy a boat from a shipbuilder that's in the process of being sold? And are you comfortable having your warranty held by a company that could pay you out as little as 13% of a claim, or withhold documents that you've requested multiple times just so that you can fix their poor workmanship? So I'm going to leave it there for you to decide what you think a Robertson & Kane warranty is worth to a full-time, live-aboard international cruiser like us. Feel free to let us know in the comments section, and we will keep you updated on how our repairs are going on Liga here in Trinidad.